Right now, the United States Air Force is executing an immediate multi-billion-dollar overhaul of its aging executive airlift fleet. This $3.36 billion strategy has two pillars: $2.19 billion for a new C-37C fleet and $1.17 billion to finish the delayed VC-25B Air Force One. Together, they ensure the continuity of government, providing secure airborne command posts for leadership during crises. The current inventory relies on heavily modified commercial airframes that were acquired decades ago. Today, those platforms are suffering from structural fatigue and rapid technological obsolescence. The most highly scrutinized component of this upgrade is the VC-25B program, the project designed to deliver the next generation of Air Force One. Executing this $3.36 billion request requires the Air Force to navigate a complex matrix of engineering failures, stringent nuclear security protocols, and severe budget friction in Congress. This data table illustrates the specific aging crisis threatening the executive fleet. The current presidential aircraft, the VC-25A, has been in service for 37 years. The light utility fleets are even older, averaging over 40 years of service. The C-21A Learjet exemplifies this legacy equipment. Operating aircraft designed in the 1970s requires a constant, highly specialized maintenance effort. The age of the inventory translates directly into operational risk. Recently, a minor electrical issue forced a VC-25A carrying the president to execute a mid-air U-turn back to Andrews Air Force Base. Another flight carrying the Secretary of Defense diverted to England after a windshield cracked in transit. As modified commercial airframes push decades past their intended design life, the financial cost of sustaining them begins to exceed the value of the capability they provide. Extending the lifespan of these specific jets is no longer a mathematically or diplomatically viable option. Total replacement is required. The largest financial pillar of the modernization plan is the $2.19 billion procurement of new C-37 transport jets. Currently, the Pentagon's senior military transport fleet is heavily fragmented. The Air Force operates a mix of the older C-37A, based on the Gulfstream V, and the newer C-37B, based on the Gulfstream G550. Maintaining two different configurations of the same baseline aircraft creates a severe logistical burden. It fragments the supply chain, requires separate training pipelines for mechanics, and reduces overall fleet availability. This flowchart maps the solution: purchasing 17 new C-37C variants to consolidate parts and training into a single, unified logistics tail. The requirements are rigid: an off-the-shelf jet supporting a 5-person crew, 20 passengers, and an advanced communications array. The defining upgrade for the new platform is the integration of the Senior Leader Communication System airborne. This provides the secure, high-bandwidth data connectivity required to keep military officials linked to command networks while in flight. By unifying the fleet around a single commercial platform, the Air Force significantly reduces the costly research, development, and testing burden that comes with designing purpose-built military transports. The strategy of heavily modifying commercial aircraft has proven far less successful in the $6.2 billion effort to build the next Air Force One. The VC-25B program operates under a 2018 fixed-price contract. Because Boeing is responsible for all cost overruns, the manufacturer has already absorbed more than $2.4 billion in losses on the project. To reduce initial expenses, the government purchased 2 commercial 747-8 Intercontinentals, originally built for Transaero, a Russian airline that went bankrupt before taking delivery. The delays stem from a core engineering conflict. Retrofitting a standard commercial airliner to meet the strict, nuclear-hardened survivability standards of the U.S. military is incredibly difficult. This 3D wireframe illustrates the primary bottleneck: extreme rewiring throughout the airframe for secure mission systems. It also demands structural reinforcements for built-in air stairs, autonomous baggage handling, and a second auxiliary power unit in the tail to handle immense electrical loads. This thermal heat map illustrates an unexpected design failure. The administration had proposed a new dark blue, red, and gold paint scheme for the aircraft. Dark paint absorbs solar radiation. Engineers realized the resulting thermal signature risked overheating the engines and the highly sensitive, tightly packed electronic components beneath the fuselage. The livery had to be redesigned to use thermally reflective colors. These structural and thermal redesigns were compounded by severe labor shortages. The program requires mechanics who hold strict high-level security clearances, leading to clearance bottlenecks and high turnover. As a result of these compounding issues, the delivery date for the first VC-25B has slipped from its original 2024 target to mid-2028. The VC-25B demonstrates that adapting an off-the-shelf commercial airliner for a highly specialized, nuclear survivable military mission is often a false economy. To mitigate the 4-year delay of the permanent aircraft, the Air Force activated the VC-25B Bridge program. This temporary Air Force One was rapidly modified from a commercial 747-8I that was gifted to the United States by the government of Qatar. Accepting a foreign-donated airframe for presidential transport presented unique security risks. Elite specialists from multiple government agencies conducted rigorous studs-up inspections to ensure the airframe was completely free of planted eavesdropping devices. To save time, the Air Force significantly narrowed the requirements for this specific jet. They prioritized the installation of secure L3 Harris communications equipment over the full-spectrum nuclear survivability required for the permanent fleet. By utilizing a direct reporting program manager model, the Air Force bypassed traditional layers of acquisition bureaucracy. The entire modification process was completed in less than a year. The bridge aircraft solves an immediate gap, but the Air Force faces a broader challenge. Boeing has permanently closed the 747 production line. The military is now forced to source out-of-production airframes globally. To secure the program's long-term viability, the Air Force executed a $400 million acquisition of 2 used 747-8s from commercial carrier Lufthansa. These Lufthansa jets will never serve as executive transports. Instead, they will be utilized as dedicated pilot training platforms and stripped down for spare parts. Purchasing used commercial jets was the only way for the military to secure an organic supply chain and an active training pipeline for an aircraft that no longer exists on the commercial market. This flowchart visualizes the macro purpose behind these multi-billion-dollar acquisitions. The VIP fleet functions as a fully integrated continuity of government architecture. This network ensures national security operations, diplomatic maneuvers, and nuclear command and control are conducted without interruption from an airborne command post. However, the funding for this plan relies heavily on a controversial defense budget mechanism known as reconciliation, which has sparked severe political friction. Congressional lawmakers have strongly opposed the Pentagon's attempt to move procurement programs into mandatory spending categories. Doing so bypasses the traditional appropriations process, removing Congress's ability to scrutinize individual line items. The optics of purchasing executive jets are complicated by the immediate financial drain of the Epic Fury conflict in Iran. Lawmakers are directly questioning the priority of recapitalizing luxury transports, when the military urgently needs funding to replace dozens of combat aircraft recently lost in combat. This creates significant political risk. If the balance of power shifts in the 2026 midterms, the reconciliation strategy could be derailed, leaving the C-37C expansion and VC-25B completion completely unfunded. Despite the multi-billion-dollar price tag, the string of engineering failures, and intense legislative friction, modernizing the Flying White House and its supporting network remains a non-negotiable priority for the global